Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever in the world you are. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. My name is Noah MP3, and I'll be participating in the Castelia Dynasty League, which is a Gen 6 Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire Singles draft league. And let me tell you, the team that I got, kind of pretty great. I'll show you just one by one some general thoughts about the Pokemon. If you don't know me, I've been a VGC player for about 3 or 4 years right now. I don't have that much experience with singles, but some very nice friends are helping me out and also have helped me out with the draft. So also big shout out to Soulblaze and to Ducky for them helping me on my draft, because I don't think I could have done half this draft without them. First and foremost, first round pick, I think pick 8 out of 12 from the top of my head. There were like the best picks like Landersterian, Gardevoir Mega, those were already all gone. But I managed to scoop a really broken Pokemon. And that is, as you can see, it's been on the screen since the start of the video, it's Mega Gallade. This boy, this anime swordsman, hits 165 attack. That is crazy. That is literally crazy. And the fact how crazy it is, it shows 335 here, but this is actually on 0 IV. As you can see, it hits even harder than that. This mon is like insane in the departments of damage output. It's rocking a base speed of 110, which in these days is maybe not that impressive, but back in Generation 6 this was actually really good. Putting him in like the top 2% of Pokemon, I believe, or like top 3%, something like that. Plus, this still has Gallade's moveset, so you still have insane moves like Swords Dance to boost your attack even further. You have priority moves like Shadow Sneak to be able to circumvent Pokemon faster than you. You have recovery option in Drain Punch. You have honestly not that many great psychic moves. I think you just have Psycho Cut. Oh, excuse me. I think the only physical psychic moves that you have are Psycho Cut and Zen Headbutt. Yeah, so that's honestly not that great, but you have plenty of fighting options. You have Close Combat, you have Brick Break, you have Drain Punch, like I said. You even have Low Kick for some nasty steals like, I don't know, Steelix or Takataka. That doesn't even exist again. What am I talking? Anyway, this mon is insane. I know the defense, like, it's honestly, the HP stat is not that impressive, but the defenses are actually at 95 and 115 is pretty solid. So I'm just gonna say it. This is probably gonna be the mon I'm building around my teams for every week the most, because this is just an absurd Pokemon, honestly. It does, of course, have weaknesses, as in, this has a severe Ghost weakness, a severe Fairy weakness. Those are two very good types in this generation. But there's like, what is it, like 2 or 3 good Ghost types in this generation. And there's multiple good Fairies, but we can patch our team for weaknesses with that. Anyway, the mon I got to pick up on round 2 is something that can check Fairy types fairly easily. Someone who has a quad resistance, 4 times resistance to Fairy types. It's your favorite frog, it's your VGC menace, it's your boy Heatran. Heatran, rocking that casual 4 times ground weakness. That's like the only downside this mon has. It's got great bulk with 91 HP and 106 in both defenses. It has an amazing special attack of 130, so it actually hits hard. And 77 speed is just perfect for this Pokemon. It's fast enough so that it doesn't get cheesed by like really slow bulky mons like Slowbro, for example. But it's slow enough to actually still function in a Trick Room kind of mode sometimes. This mon is also just ridiculous. Like, Fire and Steel is just basically the defensive perfect counter for Fairy types. So this is just the de facto Fairy type switch in. And the ground types are still mitigatable if you run Air Balloon or Shuka Berry, for example. I can't type. Wow, I really can't type today. That's okay. And you have some amazing setup options too with Substitute, Leftovers. You have a lot of support moves with Taunts, and you have Will-O-Wisp, of course. But you still get amazing coverage with Earth Power. And I think that's it. Hidden Power is also actually a move that's pretty good on Heatran this generation. Honestly, before draft, I forgot this move exists, because it's not been in the game since Generation 8. But yeah, this mon has basically got it all. And honestly, the only thing, if you did put those two mons together, Mega Gallade and Heatran, there's like one thing that you need to look out for, and that's Ground type. And I guess Ghost type to a degree, but Ground type is like the one big issue here. And I didn't resolve that issue with pick 3, because I just went for Sylveon. Now the reason why Sylveon was my pick number 3 is that this is still like an absurd Pokemon that was left in round 3, and I was like, I'll patch my ground weaknesses, my other weaknesses after this. Sylveon is actually kind of insane, and that's because Pixelate was not nerfed in this generation. It does show here that normal type moves become fairy type and have like 30% more power. I think it was 50% more in Generation 6. Showdown is just showing the current version of Pixelate, which is a lot more balanced in my opinion. But 50% is an insane modifier. And if you have good, strong normal type moves like Hyper Voice, then that just get boosted with same type attack bonus and the Pixelate boost. That just get boosted to absurd levels. And honestly, having a 110 base special attack to boot with that is nothing to scoff at. The multipliers just keep stacking, and it's honestly kind of gross. Like, yes, this mon isn't the fastest, and yes, this mon is kind of frail on the physical side, but this is still a good Fairy nuke. Fairy is still a very good offensive typing in this game. So that's why I went with Sylveon. Honestly, these are just like 3 nuke Pokemon, kind of, although Heatran is more on the bulky side. Now, to patch my ground weakness, next Pokemon we're going to talk about is the OG Levitator himself. The guy who used to be Electric Ghost, but is now Electric Water type. It's Rotom Wash. Insane defensive typing. Because this is Levitate, which means the only weakness this Pokemon has is the Grass type. The only weakness. It's also weak to Freeze Dry. That's fine. It's like 1 move and 1 entire type. The Grass type is kind of notorious for not being that great, both offensively and defensively. So Rotom Wash's vibing here is honestly just like the 50 base HP is kind of cringe, not gonna lie, but with the base defenses of both being 107, it's just able to vibe on the field for like multiple turns and disrupt the opponents with either positioning yourself well with Volt Switch or just doing tons of damage with Hydro Pump or Thunder or Thunderbolt, or even maybe statusing the opponent with a Will-O-Wisp. This mon is kind of a jack of all trades, but also sadly a master of none. The damage this is outputting is not insane, it's not that fast, it still gets overwhelmed easily by strong moves or by grass types, but this is a very important ground type check because the Levitate makes it immune to ground type moves, which is instrumental for my team to function. And after that pick, I was like, yeah, I don't have enough ground immunities, I think. So we're picking up another one, Salamence. This is a big pseudo legendary. It's a big boy. 135 attack. Yes, I love big numbers. Did you notice already? This mon is the definition, I think, of a glass cannon with an ability like Moxie, where you can just keep boosting yourself by KOing mons. This mon is so scary with setup options like Dragon Dance or Swords Dance. Not both. Okay, this doesn't get Swords Dance. Never mind. Okay, Dragon Dance is scary enough. This Pokemon also has 110 in special attack, so you can still fire off strong Draco Meteors. This is a nutty Pokemon, honestly, to have on a team. And it's a ground immunity. And this provides me with Tailwind as well. Just, now that I say it out loud, probably not that relevant in singles, especially not with dynamic speed turns. But this also gets Defog. And Defog is kind of important, because hazards, in contrary to double battles, are everywhere in single battles. They decide the pace of the entire game. So Salamence having a move that can just remove those hazards with 1 move, with Defog. I'm pretty sure this gets Defog, right? Yeah, okay, it does get Defog. This mon is just a jack of all trades and a master of some, in my opinion. Why is every mon set at 30 or like at 0 IV attack? That's weird. Anyway, not that it matters. We're moving on, because I have got already like, I want to say 5 solid Pokemon, but I needed more ways to remove hazards. So I drafted Tentacruel as my 6th Pokemon. Yes, this is another water type, but it doesn't share any weaknesses with Rotom Wash, because Rotom Wash is only weak to grass, whereas that is neutral to Tentacruel because he's poison type. His mon is weak to electric, psychic, ground, but I'm weak to grass, so I'm not overlapping any weaknesses with the second water pick. And I'm adding quite a bulky, especially bulky Pokemon to my team right here. It's actually not too slow. 100 base speed is actually super solid. But the main reason that I drafted this is because this is Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin allows you to also delete all of the hazards, but only the ones on your side, instead of everywhere on the field. And this is also just able to come in on Toxic Spikes and absorb them because it's Poison type himself. So it doesn't even often need to Rapid Spin. Sometimes it just needs to switch in and just like on the Toxic Spikes, you know? Then, after Tentacruel, I was like, yeah, I feel like I don't have enough offense on my team. So let's get more offense. Here we have the GOAT, the Pokemon with like the best coverage, in my opinion. It is the Ice Ground type Mamoswine. Good God, this Mon... It's kind of stupid. Like, Ice and Ground hits so many Pokemon for at least super effective damage. It's insanity. And with moves like Earthquake, Icicle Crash, this Mon can actually pull that off with the 130 attack. Yes, it's not that bulky. Yes, its speed is kind of middling. But those are things you can fix. With like Assault Vest, with Choice Scarf, or with just running multiple defensive IVs. Or you can just make this an entire Nuke Bun and like slap on a Scarf, like I just mentioned. This Mon, he goes hard. Also, I don't know why Oblivious is a de facto ability. You probably always run Tick Bun. Because you're removing your fire weakness from that, and you actually get an ice resistance, which is not terrible for an ice type. That's normally neutral to ice. After that, I felt like I didn't have enough Pokemon that were fast, or like, okay, I have some Pokemon that are fast, but none of them that are like really fast. And I was also missing a grass type on my team. The Sceptile became my next pick. Sceptile is honestly kind of an underwhelming Pokemon, but it hits 120 base speed, and it still has a solid special attack stat with 105. And the 120 base speed is the most important part about this, because this also gets Unburden, which can double your speed if you lose your item. But this Pokemon can just outspeed, like, I want to say 99.99% of the cast if Unburden gets procced. This is insane. But only in the speeds tier. Like, you still have options like Leaf Storm. You can go mix sets with this. This has like some moves it can do, but this is mostly for outspeeding certain fast Pokemon that might not be too bulky themselves. So this can come in and outspeed them. Maybe get some good chip in. Maybe get a good pivot in with this. That's the reason why I drafted Sceptile. It's mostly my de facto grass type. After that, I felt like my team was kind of weak to Ghost. I had no Ghost resistance because I haven't drafted 0 Dark types. So Ghost type could just go brr on my team and just hit everything neutrally and Mega Gallade super effectively. So I went ahead with the OG Noah impersonator himself. The OG lazy guy. It's your boy Snorlax. 160 base HP. That is nothing to scoff. Like, absolutely nothing to scoff. This Mon is so ungodly bulky on the special side. 160, 110 is insane. And this is a Pokemon that is not purely defensive. Like, it's very slow, but it can still have moves like Belly Drum, which can absolutely just boost its attack. I think it's ×4. Why is everyone... That's so weird. Anyway. This is not a low attack stat, and if you quadruple that, that's even higher, you know? Especially with Belly Drum. This Pokemon can get out of hand very fast, but it's mostly... I drafted this 100% as a Ghost resist, or a Ghost switch in, so to say, because this Pokemon is immune to Ghost type. That's the only reason I drafted Snorlax. Now we'll talk about Mismagius first, because I was like, okay, team is honestly still kind of weak to ground, and having a Ghost type yourself is actually pretty solid. Like, if my team is kind of, quote-unquote, kind of weak to Ghost types, and there's only like 2 or 3 good Ghost types, why not draft one of the good Ghost types yourself? So here's Mismagius. This is honestly just kind of fast, especially hard-hitting Pokemon. This has some interesting status moves with moves like Memento, Will-O-Wisp. This can hit hard with moves like Hex or Dazzling Gleam. But other than that, this Pokemon doesn't really do anything. It's just here for Ghost offense and to give me another answer to Ghost types, or actually more to remove Ghost types from the pool so that I have to face them. It's not a bad Pokemon per se, but it was pretty good for the amount of points I had left. And lastly, I first had Umbreon in this slot, but I realized that Umbreon, as a Cleric Pokemon, had a lot of similar options that Sylveon has, with Wish, Heal Bell, Protect, that kind of stuff. So I swapped out Umbreon and brought on Magnezone. Magnezone gives me, honestly, it was just probably by far the best Pokemon I could draft with the points I had left over. This is still not a bad Pokemon whatsoever. I get more electric offense this way, which was kind of lacking because my only electric Pokemon was Rotom Wash. And I get something to trap in opposing steel types with Magnet Ball. And still, this Pokemon also has other options. It can hit incredibly hard with Choice Specs Analytic. 130, like again, 130 special attack is something you cannot ignore. And this just all around has a solid defensive typing. Yes, it's 4 times weak to ground, but like I said, I have 2 Pokemon immune to ground. Actually 3 if you count Salamence too. And I also have a ground resistant Sceptile, which is honestly not the best ground resist ever. But that's good enough for me to say, okay, I can draft more ground weak Pokemon. Because I have 3 Pokemon that are immune to ground. Yeah, that's basically a summary of the draft. Later this week, you'll see on this channel the first week battle that I'm gonna have against Murkit. It's a pretty fun battle, so I recommend you watch it. It will go live. I think I set the premiere to 3 PM Central European time on Sunday the 31st of March. So stay tuned for that. For now, all I'm gonna say is see you later and bye.